The last NBC National News poll of the 2024 presidential campaign shows the election is neck and neck. With razor-thin margins in critical battleground states, the Latino vote could be decisive here. 36.2 million Latinos are eligible to vote in 2024. That's according to the Pew Research Center, the second largest voting bloc in the country. Though Democrats have historically had the edge with Latino voters, Latinos are not a monolith, and recent polls are tracking critical shifts.
Former President Trump working to make inroads with Latino voters, rallying in the South Bronx, a borough that voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden in 2020, and making an unannounced visit to a local barbershop just last month.
Because we are here to support Trump.
Trump appears to be narrowing the gap nationally. A Marist poll of likely voters showed 54% of Latino voters said they were supporting Vice President Harris, with 45% supporting former President Trump, up from 37% in 2020. In a recent Telemundo interview, Harris faced questions about why she appeared to be losing ground.
This is not my experience. My experience is I talk with Latino voters every day, all the time. And there is an incredible amount of support there.
Latino voters are not a monolith, but like the rest of the general electorate, polls show they appear most concerned with the economy. Former New York City Council member Carlos Menchaca is now canvassing at Battleground, Georgia for Harris.
There are people who are more interested in understanding how inflation is going to be addressed, how the economy is going to work for them if they're starting a business.
And polls have pointed to a widening gender gap. Menchaca says he's anecdotally seen this split with husbands and wives voting along gender lines in the same household.
They're really pointing to this idea that Trump has the more masculine approach to politics. Kamala's come together, everyone will be invited, is not something that's resonating with some of the voters that we're talking to who are male, not just Latinos, but really across the board.
Racist and crude comments made by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe during former President Trump's Madison Square Garden rally could be a critical factor in the election, too.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Influential Puerto Ricans like Bronx native and superstar Jennifer Lopez threw their support behind the vice president.
I am Puerto Rican, and we are American.
The Trump campaign distanced itself from those comments, saying it does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign.
I like you very much, and it's good for my credentials with the Hispanic or Latino community.
A Univision and YouGov survey found nearly 70% of those asked considered the comedian's comments more racist than humorous. 300,000 Puerto Ricans, the largest Latino voting bloc in critical battleground Pennsylvania, are eligible to vote. Could the outrage over Hinchcliffe's comments make a difference? CUNY history professor Laird Burgad says Latinos as a whole have historically had lower voter turnout.
Will Puerto Ricans especially have an impact? Absolutely, if they turn out to vote.
So the question remains here, will Latinos influence the results of the race? TBD. Experts say it depends on turnout, and experts remind us that social media outrage does not necessarily translate to votes, so we will all be watching. But one thing is for sure, and they are not a monolith.
Yes.